Hello, everyone. My name is Alfonso Caldero, and welcome to LDM Radio Sports Talk, the sports show that covers current events and also other events going on that relate to sports fans. Um, my co-host Joe Brio will be here in a little bit, so let's just get started. Uh, we have a pandemic update. The NHL has a 24 team tournament starting. That is um, they are in training camp right now, and they're in their training facilities, getting tested and getting ready to go. July 10th will be the official start of the training camp, and July 30th will be the start of the playoff season. Two hub cities have been determined right now, from Toronto and Edmonton. Toronto, where the Maple Leafs play, and the Oilers come from Edmonton. 16 teams play in the initial round, play-in round, and eight teams. The eight teams that lose from there will have a chance to have the number one draft pick, um, and the top eight teams in the league are on a bye right now. Um, so there was a lottery draft on last Friday, which had the seven teams that weren't in the playoffs, but they ended up having the number one pick ended up coming from slot number 12, which was not determined yet because there are 24 teams in the playoffs instead of 16. So once the first round is over, the draft will there will be another lottery draft where every team where the eight teams that were eliminated will have a 12.5% chance to uh, take the number one slot. And there was a development on Monday where 26 players out of roughly 250 were said to be positive for the coronavirus. They are currently in quarantine right now, and the plan is just to have all the players in in the hub cities and stay in the hub cities. Um, and the ones that come in that are positive, they stay quarantined for 14 days. They pass three negative tests, and then they're able to go back to the team. So hopefully, there won't be any more uh, positive tests coming out from there. The point is to just keep everybody clean, so everybody could be together, and we can get these playoffs going to their completion.
Yeah, baby.
In the NBA, we have the training camps open July 9th. Right now, the teams are in their training facilities. There's 22 teams that are going to participate, and they're all going to play 8 regular season games between each other for seeding. And once that is all over, the top 16 teams will be heading into the playoffs, just like regular format for them. Um, that will start on July 30th. The the playoffs for the NBA starts on August 17th, and there's 17 players on each roster, up from 15, and the the NBA also has a playoff hub bubble, which is the ESPN Worldwide of Sports Complex in Orlando, and they are all stationed in 3 different Disney resorts. And once everybody comes in, same thing. Nobody leaves. That's the plan to keep everybody safe and everybody together. Um, 25 players to date are testing positive for the coronavirus in total, and they are in quarantine right now. And same thing. Once they're able to pass, they're able to go on through. So hopefully, it's a system that hopefully it works to keep everybody together. For the Major League Baseball, we have teams reporting to home stadiums this week. The opening day will be July 23rd and 24th. 60 game seasons, 60 game season for everybody. The exact schedule is to be determined. There's going to be 40 divisional games, 20 interleague games, and regional games. So 30-man rosters, which will be up from the classic 25-man rosters. All games are going to be played in the home ballparks, so there's going to be a lot more traveling in baseball than what would be in hockey and basketball, which is a very interesting wrinkle there. Still no fans anywhere though, and there will be designated hitters in both leagues, as we discussed last week. The trade deadline is going to be August 31st. And hello, sir. How's it going? All right. So he's only here for baseball. That's it. Yeah. He doesn't care about basketball or hockey. That's
Let me check my mic. Hold on.
Actually, you came in at a really good time because
Testing 1 2. Yeah, we good. We ready to go.
Right. So this is actually an interesting wrinkle here. There's going to be an automatic runner placed on second base in the extra innings for every regular season game starting this season.
Isn't that the same rule that they have for the World Baseball Classic and extra innings?
Yeah.
That made
they're
things
finally
interesting.
bringing it into the MLB. I don't like it. I think it's awful.
Well, I
But,
mean, what you don't like about it, it makes it a little
it's-
exciting.
it's
It
not-
puts pressure on the pitcher
Yeah, but it's not traditional. Like, why are you going to give a freebie runner on second base? You know,
to speed up the game.
Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate thing. But
Yeah, you don't want 75 innings going down, and people, they play until 4 in the morning. It happens. You know what I mean?
I do likes me some tradition though.
I hear you. But I mean, it's the same argument for the DH as well.
Yeah, but also 18 inning games are not very funny.
Yeah, they're not fun, and you gotta spice things up. I think they're doing that to speed the game up, and also to basically protect the pitchers, protect the bullpen.
Yeah, you might as well do that in a 60-game season where nothing else makes sense anyway.
Nothing makes sense. I think there's a spike throughout the states. So it's like no matter how you have the players, no matter how much you have the players in a bubble, at the end of the day, you're still gonna have some positives coming out throughout the season, which that makes it even more interesting. Because if you have a star player come out positive, and they're intricate to winning, or they're like integral to winning, then that plays a major part. Imagine somebody getting on the DL because they have COVID-19.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a whole nother.
Yeah, it's a whole nother disabled list, like the COVID-19 list.
Yeah, it's gonna be like C19 DL. Or
Yeah,
something.
man.
Oh,
Ooh.
sorry. I think it's the injured list now. You can't say disabled list anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's offensive. Yeah.
Get outta here.
No more disabled list.
Is that how we living out here?
2 years ago, yeah. Yeah, injured is the IL instead of the DL.
Disabled list, baby. Disabled list, baby.
I do like me some tradition. The Field of Dreams game that was supposed to have the Yankees versus the White Sox, and it was supposed to be in May. They actually replaced the Yankees with the Cardinals.
Any
They announced
particular
that
reason?
yesterday. Because the Yankees aren't going to play Chicago. So
The Yankees are not gonna play
in the 60
Chicago.
They're not going to play the 60 games. Like in the 60 games, they're not going to play Chicago, so they just replaced them with somebody else.
This is a hell of a year.
I thought they would have just tanked the game anyway, but that game's going to be August 13th.
August 13th.
Yeah, and minor league baseball is canceled. All of minor league baseball, unfortunately.
I'm not too sad about that.
Yeah.
I don't really care. Honestly, I don't really care. If you had to ask
think
me, I don't
anybody
really
does.
care about the minor leaguers.
Yeah.
Until you get to the show, I don't care about you.
I think only like some places like central places like Idaho, like the Columbus Clippers, the Binghamton, like the town people are affected by it, but it doesn't affect like the whole
Like if
grand scheme of everybody.
Yeah, it makes money. Yeah, the economy
so
out
it
there.
hurts- It hurts them, but it doesn't really hurt like
Sorry,
the national
farmers.
Scale.
Ain't
And
no
it also
baseball
hurts
for you.
hurts the players that are trying to move up too.
It does hurt the players, but it's just 1 year.
Yeah,
1 year.
60-game season is not going to be a lot of call-ups anyway.
It sucks for the journeymen. And
Totally.
they're trying to get that last ditch effort to get to the show.
Yeah.
But hey, sorry, buddy. Sorry. It's the way the cookie crumbles.
All right, we'll move on to the NFL now. There's no lost regular season games yet. They have been the luckiest of all franchises as of right now.
They
Well,
canceled
as
the
of-
preseason though.
Yeah, there's 2 preseason games that are. There's the Hall of Fame game, the annual Hall of Fame game that has been canceled. That was supposed to be between the Dallas Cowboys and Pittsburgh Steelers on August 6th. So, and there's also a short.
Pardon me, y'all. We're in the anus of hell right now.
Yeah,
This is nuts in here.
that's why I get here early so I can wear the.
Yeah,
hat. Be cool.
jeez,
Yeah.
bro.
The preseason schedule is going to go from 4 games each to 2 games each. So
2 games each for each team.
yeah, 2 games
Okay,
for each team.
alright.
So which is okay because like the last preseason game doesn't mean much anyway. Usually just means like 4th and 5th stringers. So it's not going to be that great of an impact. But this is the start of the NFL feeling the impact of the COVID-19. Aside from having to have a virtual draft, which I'm sure really did not help the selection process too much. Not having people come in and physically be there to visit the facilities and really get like a good personal feel for them. I mean, Zoom just gives you an opinion of somebody, but I don't think it gives you like the full opinion. So
Yeah, I mean, it's the ceremonial aspect is gone out of it. That's the sad part. That
and
you know
people
that
actually seeing if they like the cities, because there's people selected the teams that they've never been there before. Usually they have that initial visit at least to get some kind of feel for the city and the organization and things like that. It'll be interesting. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's the same 50-50 shot of picking somebody good, picking somebody not good. But it's interesting to hear, like, when we hear the 30-30s and like
copy,
the
behind the scenes, like 10 years later.
We would have known this guy was like this. We never picked that guy.
The documentaries and all that. Yeah. It affects that, but other than that, don't really care.
So
I'm gonna be saying that a lot today. I don't really get used to that. I'm gonna be like, I just want to see people play. I want to see my favorite athletes play.
Yeah. Well, they're working on it. The fans. There's talk of fans signing waivers before they go into NFL arenas this season. Just to
come at your own risk.
But
how does that protect like the individual? That's not much of a bubble though.
I think it just means like if you're not really scared of the COVID-19, you can come in. But I mean, I don't see like every seat in the house being done. I don't know. Like it's still in talks, so like it all depends on the fluid situation that COVID-19.
I want to know how the players feel about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because
you're putting them at risk if you letting people in. You might as well test them at the door.
Well, I think
just put a Q-tip in their nose right there in the door.
The biggest risk for them, as far as the fans are concerned, is entering and leaving the arena. I saw a lot of pictures yesterday on social media with the Yankees and the Red Sox and people going in. It didn't seem like there were a ton of people there, but at the same time, like it is a concern moving forward. So, and all games are set to start in the home arenas, just like baseball. So there's no central hub cities for football as well. Which is, I mean, it's interesting because I feel like with the central areas, like it's just the plan is just to contain everybody and have everybody mix in together, but still be clean so that they're able to play the sports the right way, be able to interact, go in and out, and things like that. But another interesting wrinkle is going to be how many players actually stay strict to those confinements, because you got millionaires that are usually used to doing anything they want.
Yeah.
They're gonna, like the people in the championship.
Don't be surprised if the owners don't already got COVID. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if it's the actual front office that comes out positive, because I doubt that people with money has stopped their regular activities. And let me say this, and I want to speak candidly on that too. On actually something else. Let me switch guard. I feel like everything we're talking about as far as plans, because you plan and the universe laughs. So I feel like everything is tentative. Like this is uncharted territory. Everybody's planning, or at least the front offices and the organizations are planning the best to their capabilities. But you never know that in the middle of a season that has already been well planned to protect the players, if you get an outbreak, then you got to shut it down all over again.
Absolutely.
So I feel like it's all tentative. All the information we're giving you is pretty much tentative, because if an outbreak occurs, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Put a doobie. You got a doobie done.
That's the main concern, especially with things happening in the southern belt of the U.S. Like pretty much the whole southern belt from Florida to California, all the way. Like everything's going on. Pretty much more than half of the countries are getting spikes now. So there's a huge concern moving forward on whether these instances are actually going to happen. But then, as I spoke about on the top of the show, hockey's like in Canada right now. So there's Edmonton, which is Western Canada for those who don't really know Canada much. And Toronto is Eastern Canada, so
there's not an outbreak over there.
I mean, they have their issues, because I don't think it's the same.
I saw United States map today on TV, and it seemed like the whole country was on red.
Yeah.
The whole country was on red. I was like, woo.
It's only a matter of time until it sweeps through everything else. So, and then just for the last pandemic update, we're gonna do MLS soccer, and this one took a lot of research. I'm not a soccer fan, but I didn't want to
leave it out.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave it out for the fans, for the many fans that do like soccer. So the MLS training camps open up in Orlando's ESPN World Wide World of Sports complex. And
That's
and
Disney World.
Yeah, and that's exactly where the NBA. Like, this must be some place. I have to go to this place. One
Yeah,
day.
yeah, that's
like,
Disney
it's
World.
Just, it must be amazing to have like two like total sports with like 45 teams all together.
It's gonna be like an Olympic campus, like when
Yeah.
they do Olympic sports and they
Yeah.
put all the athletes on a campus.
Yeah.
It's gonna be sort of like that.
I'm gonna admit I never heard of it until like this past week, but
yeah.
I definitely want to go to this place. Sounds like my kind of place. So 26 teams are gonna be in a tournament with 6 groups. One group's gonna have 6 teams, and the other 5 groups are gonna have 4. I don't know how that works. That's gonna start July 8th.
That's MLS.
Yes.
MLS.
3 regular season games for each, totaling 39 games total. The best 16 teams, points-wise, in the standings will move over to the knockout round. So they'll have a 16-team playoff as well. And the championship will be on August 11th. And right now they currently have 4 players who are testing positive out of.
I mean, it's not funny. I'm
392.
just like, this is the part of the show where I go again. I don't care.
Football is not releasing their numbers. I'm assuming because they're not like
Nah, you don't want,
eminent.
you don't want to do that.
But everybody else, so the main idea and the main moral of the story with everything is just to have everybody clean and everybody in the central units being together, so that hopefully they don't have any positives between each other.
Is that politically correct terminology? Clean.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Ah, man, what world we living in now?
So, all right. So the pandemic update is over. So we're gonna move back to NASCAR, which we touched on last week.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. There's been some new developments.
All right.
Some. So, from what I understood, I think the day after our last episode, NASCAR posted the photo of the noose in the garage. So just to get a quick update, so Bubba Wallace is the sole black driver in NASCAR, and they basically found a noose in a garage where his vehicle was being reserved. Now the FBI got in there, they investigated, they said it wasn't a hate crime. They basically said it was just a noose, but then NASCAR put a picture up and they put it on their social media pages of the noose. It was definitely a noose. Like I saw the noose. I was like, this is a noose. This is not. I said last week. I said it's a slip knot. And I said no. It was a noose. The only thing was that noose was there since. And I said last week. I said 2018. No, it was October of 2019. It was there. I mean, another driver harbored their car in that garage, and that noose was there. It seemed like someone tied the noose for the garage door, but it was a noose. Okay. So I think NASCAR, what the statement they said was that it was still a concern because if the noose is there, everyone ignored it anyway. So I mean, I'm a little conflicted with it still. I still hold the same opinion, thinking that NASCAR were definitely opportunists in that moment to report that without the facts, without the investigation taking place. I think it's possible that the noose was a noose. Don't get it twisted. I think someone could have just put a noose there as a hate crime or as some hate vandalism. I don't know if you could call it a hate crime to put a noose to a door. I don't know.
Well, it's some bad hazing.
Yeah. It's definitely bad. It definitely could have happened, especially the history of NASCAR with the Confederate flag. And a little also another update is NASCAR removed the usage of or banned. They banned the Confederate flag from being used at NASCAR events, which is good, even though it took too long. It took way too long, which is good. But I think, in my opinion, it was still very opportunistic for NASCAR to utilize this moment in time to report that without the proper investigation. Last week I ended the show saying that they had 12 FBI agents investigating it. I don't think it takes 12 FBI agents to investigate a noose on a garage door. Really don't. Honestly, I'm offended by it. I'm appalled by it.
I think in the TMZ world and the social media world where information goes so quickly, it's like there is a sense of urgency with the time to get these things done, and sometimes, a lot of times, they jump the gun.
You know what it tells me though? You know what it honestly tells me? It honestly illustrates and emphasizes the problem that we have with the police, because why local authorities couldn't investigate it is basically saying that you don't trust local authorities to do a good job in investigating it. That's how I see it.
I mean, this is when it comes to international entities, they're not going to rely on local police to handle these issues.
International?
Yeah.
NASCAR is international?
Well, maybe not
national.
international, but national, yeah.
National.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the federal government got to get involved with NASCAR?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much money and there's so much things involved in these sports that they're not gonna have just regular state cops take care of these issues. They're gonna open it up to. They're gonna bring in the big dogs to take care of these kind of issues. And like the more they bring in the FBI and things like that, the more neutral it stays, because when you have these situations, like maybe like certain cops and officials, like this is their home spot, so they don't want it to look bad, so they're like, they don't give all the full information.
Yeah.
So I mean,
you agree with me?
Possible, yeah.
You agree with the fact that they can't be trusted with these type of investigations
Well,
because they could be
I
corrupted.
I just don't think it would be even plausible to have them come and do that. Like, I think you just let them do what they do and take care of their town, and then it's these are multi-million-dollar businesses that we're dealing with here. So
I
it's
think
not, you have to bring in like the top.
No, I
don't.
Listen, logic. That's logic. I can't dispute that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you have NASCAR and you have FBI, right?
Right.
After the investigation was done, it seemed like the narrative was FBI was telling NASCAR, "Hey, you guys are full of shit," and NASCAR was saying, "Hey, you guys are full of shit." It's real, So I think they both kind of attacked each other after the investigation was done. NASCAR was almost disappointed that they didn't have any findings into the investigation. That's what I got from it. It's almost like both parties were disappointed in each other. And I mean, NASCAR, if you reported it and if you want people to investigate it, and if the investigation clears all names, then it is what it is. Accept the investigation. My viewpoint of it is, NASCAR, you should have waited till the investigation started and concluded before you reported, because it just looked opportunistic in my view. And last week, we ended with the special moment that Bubba Wallace had, right, with the lap. Did they do a lap?
Yep.
Do a lap.
One that I was very happy with last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what. But I think that lap only and everything that's going on with NASCAR is only gonna symbolize how much people of color will not tune in. I know it's a vague comment, right? It's vague.
Yeah.
It's very vague. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to let me elaborate on that. We're not gonna mess with y'all. We're not gonna mess with y'all. It's difficult to mess with. It's difficult, and when I say we, I'm talking about people of color. It's hard for us to mess with you guys because your acts did not seem genuine. It didn't, and I want to commend Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, because in every that guy's a hell of a commissioner. I'm sorry. That guy's a hell of a commissioner. He jumps in front of everything. When we had what was the name of the coach? Donald Sterling. When that came out, it was a transgender woman recorded Donald Sterling. I think the transgender was his girlfriend. So he jumped in front of that. And he listened to his players. His players weren't happy. The fans weren't happy. He jumped in front of that. When it came to what was the other aspect? I know it came to the Donald Sterling. Oh, COVID-19. When it came to COVID-19, I think he was the first person to stop the league, and I think
they were the first athletes that came out and had the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, and he immediately shut it down, and I think he let us know, he let the public know how serious COVID-19 is. Yeah. Because we weren't taking it serious. Like, oh, yeah, something's coming from China. And the moment Adam Silver said the NBA's done, we was like, whoa.
That's when I started paying attention.
Yeah, it's like, whoa.
What sports got shut down?
Yeah,
whoa.
That's $1 billion, $1 trillion industry that got shut down. So kudos to Adam Silver. Kudos.
Yeah. So let's move on to another topic now. So what is which actually relates to this, the social issues? Should sports take a stand, or should they kind of just be sports? Well, what is your take on that?
Great question. That's number one. Great question. You want me to answer
Yeah.
first? You want me to? I think the sports in general sports is a phenomenon. It's a phenomenon in culture. It's a phenomenon in culture for the simple fact that I think it relates to the way we live with competition. You know, you go in a capitalistic structure, you got people competing for work, people competing for money, and I think people resonate with it because of that. They resonate with sports because of that, and because there's such a close relation with sports in society. I think sports has a responsibility to come out and take a stand on social issues because people follow sports religiously. I think people see Sunday football more than they tend to go to church.
Yeah.
Sports has beat religion at this point. That's my take. My take is that they have a responsibility to take a stance.
I think for me, I'm a person who just believes in having a perfect world. I believe that things should be done with logic. You know, I believe, you know, like that there really shouldn't be any kind of segregations or issues between anybody. That's just one of my kind of things where like love should be like the main aspect of everything. So saying that, I will say that I wish sports could just be sports. Like I think that the organization shouldn't have to come out and pick a side when it comes to these certain issues, because you know, like your sports, like that's what you do, that's what you're really good at, that's what you should just stay and do. Like if there's a player or players that come out and they want to have their opinions and they want to take stands and different things like that, like that's all wonderful, like if it's player specific. But when it comes to like the organization speaking for the masses, and you know, they should just be sports. Like they shouldn't have to come out because it just puts a divide, and it's just like sports is supposed to be for everybody. So you know, just these different situations, as bad and ugly as they can get, sports should just be sports. Like the organization should just be what they are, and like their philanthropy work is a little different than what I'm talking about. But as far as like coming out and taking stands where that causes divides and different things throughout the country, it's like asking if you want a sports team to pick a presidential candidate. You know what I'm saying? And then you're just basically dividing.
That's different. That's a political process. But a social ill is completely different. Because at the end of the day, like you said, you stated previously, you said, I believe that no one should discriminate, or you believe in an ideal world. But there can't be the ideal world doesn't exist, and there can't be an ideal world unless you educate the ignorant.
And there won't be. But that's why
there can be.
That's why it doesn't. I mean, that's why it doesn't.
I'm
work.
optimistic.
Yeah, but that's why it doesn't work as far as like sports organizations not coming out and saying.
But it can work if your favorite team puts a stance on things. If your favorite team says, "Listen, if you have these beliefs that are completely counterproductive or regressive to the betterment of civilization, then we don't want your business." I think it makes people change and become better. So if sports can make people better, then I'm all for it, But we don't want, at the end of the day, you don't want to. I'm a Yankee fan, 100% Yankee fan. But that's nice.
Ooh, but had a big lunch. Sorry about that.
But if the organization was to come out tomorrow and say something that was completely biased towards a collective of people, unfortunately, they wouldn't have my support no more.
Yeah, but
that's my point.
In this particular issue, you have, like the race issue, and then you have like the police issue. So it's like if you side more with the race, then you're taking away from the police, and if you're supporting the police too much, you're taking away from the racial aspect. Like there's too many too many misinterpretations that happen in these kind of particular situations where, if you're a sports franchise or a sports organization, like just be sports. Like
but I don't feel like there's a right or wrong in that aspect, in the sense of there's no way you can be right if you're racist or support police brutality. There's no right in that at all.
Right, but
there's no right in that. So there shouldn't be no way for you to not distinguish that.
Unfortunately, the lines just get too blurred there, and I think for sports organizations themselves, they should just be sports. That's it. Like that's all. Yeah, that's what you're good at. that's what you should do. Like when you have some players that they don't interview well in the locker room because they're not actors, they're sports players. You know, like you have some that's it. Chin Ming Wang. I knew I was trying not to have a Chin Ming Wang moment.
He said, "All right,
that
frozen."
Happening, but yeah, just basically, sports should just be sports. That's my main.
I guess we're gonna agree to disagree. We could recap on the next one because we run out of time. Unfortunately, we got time constraints. We gotta follow. But we could definitely, follow up with that. That's definitely a good question. Definitely a good question.
That is our show for today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we go to 1 hour?
Should we go to 1 hour?
Should we?
Yeah. So, comment on the Facebook post that you get, and comment on the YouTube, and see if we should go for an hour. In doing an hour, we will have special guests coming in, and we'll have a variety of other different topics as far as on top of the current events.
And we should and you'll get more of our viewpoints because sometimes it's hard to really dig into a subject,
So we do have plans, but we need the ratings to make the plans work. So let us know if you want us to get into an hour. So that is our show for today. Again, my name is Alfonso Caldero, and Joe Brio.
Joe Brio, baby.
And we will be back next week. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
LDM Radio Sports Talk.